We can finally put a bow on the biggest week in gaming now that everybody had their big conferences, everybody had their direct or their equivalent, whatever Xbox called theirs, and Sony had their state of play. And obviously, and honestly, on Tuesday, when Sony held their impromptu event that they announced with less than 48 hours notice, without them, this biggest week in gaming, okay, with the release of a console, with the Summer Games Fest, not E3 Expo over the weekend, that would have been one of the most depressing turnouts I have ever seen in my life as somebody who watched probably since, E3 started to get televised. Summer Game Fest, it wasn't even from the games that they announced, okay, because of the bigger games, and they had a couple of them. Jeff Keighley got a couple of exclusives, but like it was wildly disappointing. Summer Games Fest, like I was expecting, like I said before, leading up to the event, I thought that this could be big, okay, there would be a lot of games, there would be a lot of studios wanting to get some games out before GTA 6 comes out, or maybe even just making some long-term prognostications, like here's the stuff that we're going to be working on that could be coming out, in winter 2026 or early 2027. But yeah, outside of Sony's event, like Games Fest itself and a couple of the other events that we'll get into, what a dud. What an absolute dud. And that's not even to make mention of the Switch 2. We'll be talking about that tomorrow because holy crap, man. I got some anecdotes to add to that one, okay? But yeah, just talking about the things that were announced at Summer Games Fest, it's like it was a 2-hour event. It was a long 2-hour event. I watched all of it. It was, thank God, I was kind of busy on Friday, but I had it playing in the background. I listened to all of it and watched the stuff that piqued my interest, and then went back and, just took a look at a lot of the trailers as well. But wow, you really felt every minute of that 2 hours. And it wasn't like it was, held up by cringy presentations like Hideo Kojima coming out and pimping stupid Death Stranding 2 like that, and Mads Mikkelsen announcing that, Lashif is going to be, he's going to have his own standalone mission in the Hitman games, which is like, okay, that's kind of cool that those are going to be dropping in pretty quick order. And Liza P got a shadow drop for its DLC, which is pretty great. Okay, but yeah, for the big games, for the heavy hitters that were there, a Deadpool VR game, it's like, yeah, a VR game. Still, we have not evolved at all whatsoever when it comes to interactivity or for just any sort of gameplay advancement with VR. It's like, yeah, cool, you got these disembodied limbs, and okay, cool, now you have Ryan Reynolds cringe ass over the top of it. Fantastic stuff. Wildgate, another Jurassic World, ostensibly theme park simulator with a dinosaur skin over the top of it. Code Vein 2, I guess that's a big thing for the people that like the Code Vein games, but then of course, it's Capstone at the end, which was kind of teased, because if we're going to be completely honest, okay, like Summer Games Fest really just could have been Capcom Game Fest, because holy shit, man, were they just all over this, okay? The one thing that I really liked and, am sort of looking forward to after this event is the Onimusha game. Like, that looks pretty good, okay? But I don't know if this is going to be the trend moving forward in gaming for a while, but god damn it, man, there's a lot of samurai and feudal Japan games coming out in very short order. Ghosts of Yotai, Xbox announced a couple. There's a few more Souls-like types coming out of the East as well. Was it Wu Chang, the not Black Myth Wukong game, the female protagonist that kind of looks a little bit more action Devil May Cry style gameplay, which that's interesting. At least it's not just going to be another, copy-paste Souls-like game, but that could be fun-ish. But yeah, I don't know, maybe this will be sacrilegious, but I don't really like the Resident Evil games. Like, I played a little bit of a few of them, and they just never really hooked me. Like, survival horror stuff, it's just never really been my bag to begin with. So couple that with, Hideo Kojima and all of that Metal Gear and whatever the hell else he does, okay? All of that Kojima-verse stuff, never really doing anything for me in general, so maybe that's why things fell so totally flat. But as for some of the other big games, like, okay, the Game of Thrones War of Westeros, okay, another, Game of Thrones video game adaptation, real-time strategy game out next year. It's like, yeah, cool. I got bit pretty bad by the promise. I think that was at, Game Awards, like, at the tail end of last year, but they announced, what was it, King's Road or something like that? It looked like it was going to be, a new telling of everything from all of the cringe seasons of Game of Thrones. So like from 6 onward, and you'd be, telling a new new story, or maybe, you know, just immersing yourself in, and then it drops and it's like, spoilers, it's actually just a microtransaction laden gotcha game. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes, what are we doing out here? But an RTS, fantastic. During the time when all of the worst battles were going on during the show, cool. I guess you can employ a bunch of different strategists that are out there to try to make sense of why you'd put the trebuchets on the front lines during the Battle of Winterfell. Make that one make sense, and just send out the cavalry first into the darkness. Don't try to use them to flank, and then after everybody's practically dead, then you send in your god damn it, man, that shit was so dumb. But yeah, the rest of it, it's just shit that looks like it might have promise, but honestly, it was bad. I think the biggest pop for me was actually, yeah, Street Fighter Season 3, using Kenny Omega to announce that, okay, what, Sea Viper, Sagat, Ingrid, one of Capcom's weirdest characters that has just been popped around from fighting game to fighting game, and what is it? Oh yeah, and Alex as well, because the reason that they use Kenny Omega is because he's a big Alex guy. I thought, especially with what is it, Ronaldo coming to City of the Wolves, that makes a lot of sense, I guess. I thought, oh shit, they're gonna put Kenny Omega in Street Fighter, that'd be pretty based. But no, they just had him doing dress up, and it's like, that's kind of funny, but why is Capcom dominating this conference so much? Oh, because they were going to be getting the final game, and it's one that we already knew, because I don't know, it's like, did this get memory hold from everybody? But when they announced that they were going to be doing the Dead Rising Deluxe remake, that I know everybody has actually forgot about, but when they were making that first announcement, okay, and making the teases back then, they said, because it was actually a dual announcement video, okay, that came out, that yeah, half of the team there that worked on the original Dead Rising were also veterans of the Resident Evil franchise. So yeah, half of the new team would be working on this deluxe remake, and then the other half were going to be working on Resident Evil 9. So we already knew that this was coming out, and they dropped a cinematic trailer with a new heroine in the franchise, potentially going back to a bombed out looking Raccoon City, and yeah, Grace Ashcroft. I think from some Resident Evil heads have pointed out that that's a name that has ties to Code Veronica or something like that. So it's like, okay, but at least the turnaround on it's going to be relatively quick. Okay, the tail end of February. Okay, so February 27th, it's going to be coming out. Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I guess, is it going to put a capstone on the way that Resident Evil has kind of gone so far as a franchise, where they go in triplicates, where the first 3 are your tank control games, okay, and then your 3 in the middle, your 4, 5, and 6 are your more action adventure-based games, and now you're stuck in this horrifically designed, mechanically devoid point and click on the head of the bullet sponge until they drop into the floor 7, 8, and 9 first-person shooter types. It's like, is that what you're going to be doing, or is this going to kick off something new? I don't know. And like I said before, Resident Evil has never really done anything for me. Every time that I've been intrigued by something, I've seen reviews and a breakdown of it and have been put off by it. But I know a lot of people like 4. Okay, they have fond memories of 2. And every time that you turn around, Capcom is remaking the original. But I don't know. It's a franchise that has a big audience. But to me, it's kind of like the Mission Impossible movies, where it's like there's one good one, a bunch of ones that people have, a guilty pleasure for, and the rest of them are utter shit. But I'll just go ahead and let you decide what I mean by that. I played a little bit of 5, found no fun in it. I hear good things about 4 and 2, and I don't know, brain dead people that still like, funny looking and pretty pixels on the screen, like 7 and 8, because you got that tall chick that can't get into the save room, but she'll go ahead and stand outside with her titties popping through the top of the door frame. Great gameplay that you got going on there. But another game that didn't, it's not getting any coverage by any of these summation posts is, Reloaded. Okay, Reloaded, an African futuristic heist game where you reclaim real African looted artifacts from Western museums. Now, I think that's kind of interesting that you have a game developed by African, or at least African American developers, and what is the game that they decide to do? Well, a 2D side-scrolling action-adventure game where you have some very interesting art design, and what's the first thing that you do? Oh, you break into places and you start stealing stuff. I mean, that's at this point in time, it's kind of indistinguishable from parody. I don't know why they would go ahead and do this, and honestly, this would be, groundbreaking gameplay if this was 2012, 2013. This looks like something that used to drop during the summer of indie on Xbox or something like that. But I guess maybe if it's your first game, that's totally fine. But holy shit, the animations on those characters are something else. But hey, it's a game for them. It's obviously not a game made for me. But then again, by the time that we see the sales data, I don't think we're gonna find out, or rather, we are gonna find out that this isn't really a game made for anybody. But Relooted, huh? Game about stealing. All right, well, the first time in a long time, at least you have accurate protagonists. But going back to Resident Evil 9 here real quick, this one's interesting because this post for a long time had a community note at the bottom of it, but because he provided one receipt that definitely doesn't look from a bot account. No, that's definitely the case. But like I said, like, Resident Evil 9 doesn't really appeal to me at all. Franchise has never done anything for me, but it does look interesting. It looks interesting for the people that it would appeal to, and I know a lot of people are somewhat excited for it, and if not excited, at least anticipating it. But dudes are already calling Resident Evil 9 lead protagonist ugly. An epidemic of loneliness and misery is truly making some of you insane. I don't know, man. You posted those two pictures right there, and I don't know if there is any metric in the world that would go ahead and say that that chick is ugly. And honestly, like even in the aftermath of Summer Games Fest, when I was even not feeling the event that much, all I could see was hype for Resident Evil 9, and nobody was talking shit about her at all whatsoever. Like, that's a weird one. But yeah, I saw folks saying the protagonist was woke and ugly in live stream comments. Oh, okay. And then this tweet and reply was put into my Discord. Right. Okay. Yeah, this totally real, totally legit account that doesn't look like an AI generated profile picture. RPG on X. A protag looks woke. Huge RE fan, but greatly diminished my interest in this. Yeah. Okay. Cool. 49 comments. Okay, and replying to somebody else for sure. I don't give a fuck if left-wing pussies are triggered by this. I prefer my women in video games, not ugly. Yeah, I think that's fake. I don't have anything to go on, but I'm gonna say that is an astroturfed comment, if not completely and totally made up. I don't believe you. I do not believe you. And then also, yeah, here's more evidence. Apparently, you got Asmongold's live stream that moves at what, like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you got what, DEI, a DEI game, and then two people saying DEI. Yeah, because the FBI director was black. He's apparently, like, I've never watched the series as well, but a famous Walking Dead actor. And then he had another lady who looked to be in charge of another department there as well, and they're having a conversation explaining what the fuck is going on. I forget the exact conversation that is going on, but it just sounded like some, bog standard cop talk. So yeah, it's totally fine. But you look at the rest of the stuff in his chat, and it's just all about the game itself. It's like, okay, cool. So you found a couple of things, but okay, cool. And what else did you find? Oh, there's DI, Quantic Dream, Evil Within, DEI higher. Oh, okay, cool. Total War 9. Right. Okay, bald. Right. Oh, okay, cool. That's your proof, huh? But as Grum says, yeah, if that were true, I would have said it. But I don't think she's ugly, and you got it all wrong. You're just baiting. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on here. And that's the most enduring legacy of this year's Summer Games Fest. It was not a great show. And then Sunday rolled around. Xbox held their event, and well, there's one game that we will be talking about tomorrow because it has much larger implications on the greater industry. You know which one it is right there, but we'll talk about that one a little bit later. But as for the rest of their lineup, I mean, here's another thing, man. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that was released and a bunch of stuff that was announced, and well, okay, like outside of what, Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade finally coming to Xbox after what? Well, okay, in the case of FF7, 4 years after the release of Intergrade, 5 years after the release of Remake, and 16, what was it, last year it finally got its PC port, but it was a long time, and it'll literally move dozens of copies over on Xbox. But the rest of this stuff, there's in the best sense of the word, like, there's some diversity that's here, but god damn it, man, a lot of the shit also just kind of looked like that goofy looking art style that we seen in the African looter and then eventually shooter game. It's just uninspired stuff. Like, a lot of different stuff that I seen. DLC for the Indiana Jones game, everybody forgot came out, but they really liked it for the 10 minutes that it was relevant. And I would say there were a couple of bigger takeaways, and one would be, what is it, Beast of Resonance, okay, which is quite interesting because it is being developed by Game Freak. Now, if that's a name that immediately doesn't jump off the page to you, that's the development team behind Pokemon. Yeah, that Pokemon. Not the other Pokemon. That Nintendo's Pokemon. And then people are doing side-by-side comparisons here. Okay, Game Freak to Nintendo, and then Game Freak to Microsoft. Okay, if you've wondered why the Pokemon IP and the Pokemon games over at Nintendo have just been languishing in mediocrity for the past few generations, hasn't been because Mind Freak has been lagging, because they're putting out another samurai game, but this one looks impressive. It could ultimately end up being a flop, and you're just mostly seeing a lot of cinematic stuff behind it, but could be good. Could be good, because it ended up passing the smell test of really intriguing everybody, and then to specifically say this is being made by Game Freak? Like, first and foremost, is like big coup by Microsoft to go ahead and pull them off Nintendo real quick for just a little side project. Like, that's pretty fantastic. But holy shit, are they being muzzled by their parent company? Okay, well, it's sparking a lot of conversations. But getting into this event, myself and several other people have been wondering what exactly the direction moving forward for Microsoft was going to be, because they really seem to be, directionless is about the nicest way to put it. Like, their hardware stuff is completely and totally fallen off of a cliff. There were some reports that just immediately got blown out the water, and especially with another announcement that we'll get to very shortly. They were shutting down studios, laying off more people than some of their contemporaries have hired in the past year. So what exactly are they doing? Are they trying to go all in on Game Pass and simply get out of the hardware department? Well, having a clear path forward and really laying out the 2026, Xbox will have the new Fable game. Okay, so I guess we're getting a release window for that. Didn't get a trailer or anything on it, but that's interesting. The next Forza game, okay, Gears of War E-Day, but later this year we're going to be getting, oh my god, Jesus fucking Christ, we're going to be getting, yes, the remaster of Gears 1, but we've known about that for a little while, so this is like, that's nice. A return of a classic that's been with us since the beginning for the 25th anniversary of Xbox, which, hey man, that's nice. And I think we already know what's going to be coming. Wow, what was the franchise? What's the IP that's been with Xbox since the beginning? I wonder, wow, could it potentially be Halo? Well, it's apparently going to be Halo, and it's Combat Evolved Remastered. Oh, for fuck's sakes, man. You already did Anniversary, but that did come out on the Xbox 360, so yeah, it's been a minute. But at this point in time, man, just call it like Resident Evil Combat Evolved or Halo Return to Raccoon City. Like, how many times are you going to re-release this game? Okay, they haven't even done Halo 3 Anniversary. Like, you did Halo 2 Anniversary, and that shit looks amazing. But the biggest game in the trilogy, I'm not just talking about content, but I'm pretty sure it was the best-selling entry in the original trilogy. You don't even want to run that back? But okay, you're just going to remaster Combat Evolved. I mean, as long as you don't fuck with the campaign that much, because that's the one that definitely had the weakest multiplayer. So, I guess, cool. For as much as they have a plan moving forward in their 25th anniversary, it's another Fable, another Forza, and a remaster. I'm sorry, and another Gears of War, because you're already going to have the remaster for Gears. So it's the 25th anniversary of you as a brand, and like the 20th anniversary of you being incapable of creating a new IP. That's interesting. But hey, at least Black Ops 7 is going to be coming out, and it had a funky-ass trailer. And the way that Activision is going to be going about this is it's going to be like a Beyonce album release. Holy fuck. We might have to delve into that at a later date, because as a brand itself, Call of Duty could be heading into that point, and it's going to be interesting to see, because you've also got a parallel in Hollywood right now in the form of the Jurassic Park movies, okay, or Jurassic World, whatever we're at this point in time, with Jurassic World Rebirth, where this is supposed to be, this is really supposed to be a course correction after that abysmal Jurassic World Dominion, the movie that everybody hate, but somehow managed to make over $1 billion. All of those Jurassic World movies made over $1 billion. It's kind of like Avatar. Everybody went and seen them, but nobody can remember them. But the way that they're marketing Jurassic World Rebirth, okay, like it's very likely going to be outside of Avatar. Oh, god damn it, man. We're just stuck in this cultural malaise. But no. Outside of that film, it's probably going to be the best performing film of the year. Okay, like Lilo and Stitch is still on track to make $1 billion. But Jurassic World Rebirth has been at the top of everybody's most anticipated movie charts, especially amongst normies. So yeah, I fully anticipate that dominating July. But everybody's wondering, right? Like, if these films don't actually become, for lack of a better term, good movies, it could end up hitting that tipping point where at the beginning of the 2000s, all the way up until, what was that, like the mid 2010s, Michael Bay's Transformers movies were surefire moneymakers. How many of those made $1 billion? And then seemingly with, what was it, the Dark of the Night or Dark Side of the Moon, they just immediately stopped making money. Like, they just became cultural mocking points. Like, are we going to see that this time around with Jurassic World? I don't quite think that that's going to be the case. But then we have Call of Duty out here, just, Black Ops 7. 7? Seriously, we're at that level of stagnation where everybody gets really hyped. Oh my god, they just buy it and it sells and it just flies off the shelves, and then within a month or two it just completely and totally dies, because that's just what happened with, what is it, Black Ops 6 was the most recent one. So it's funny they're going to be running back to the Black Ops well so quickly. I think the last time they did that was the last time that they had to make a concerted effort to try to pull out of this tailspin with, what was that, Advanced Warfighter and then Infinity War, where he had something so closely associated. But this time around, this is the first time they're going to be going back to back with the franchise. They're not even going to try to wedge in a remake of Modern Warfare or something like that, or run back a World at War remaster. No, we're just going to go straight into Black Ops 7. It's going to have a dedicated co-op campaign. It's going to have well-rounded zombies. It's going to have Warzone. It's going to have all of the shit that everybody likes for a second and then forgets for the rest of the year. When are we going to see Call of Duty fall off? Kind of think that the way that they're marketing this, and if they want to say that this is going to be like a Beyonce album release, yeah, harkening back to 2013, we are cooked as a society. But that's another topic for another time. Because Xbox as a company, well, at least they laid out a little bit more tangibility to their strategy moving forward. Because, yeah, everybody's seeing it. It's like, okay, cool, you're hiking the prices on your console and all of your hardware. So you're just trying to price everybody out of the game so that you just hop on Game Pass, so that they, so Microsoft owns all of your gaming, so that, gamers don't actually own their games anymore, and that they're at the behest of Microsoft, one of the most open, honest, and transparent companies that's out there. Okay, good decision. I guess that's where Ubisoft ended up overstepping by just simply coming out and saying gamers need to get used to and accustomed to not owning their games. So Microsoft can just go ahead and make these, little subtle movements and push everybody in that direction. We should be totally fine with that, right? But yes, the writing is on the wall on multiple different ways with Xbox and Microsoft. But yeah, they just firmly clarified that, okay, we got this new strategy, Xbox Play Anywhere. When you see this on a game, it's an Xbox Play Anywhere, and that means that you can buy a game and it's yours across the Xbox ecosystem. Play on Xbox console, Xbox PC, and supported gaming handhelds. Pick up where you left off across devices. Now, I like that, but that's also something that you guys have been using for a long time with the cloud. We got the cloud out here to transfer saves between devices. It's like not exactly new, but I guess, okay, cool. Xbox PC. Oh, great. So, yeah, Xbox console, Xbox PC, and supported gaming handhelds. What do we mean about that? Yeah, that rumor about Xbox making its own handheld console, well, it's real, okay? Because there was a little bit of scuttle earlier in the week, or maybe even a little bit longer in the tooth prior to that. But Xbox was, pumping the brakes on a new handheld, and then just, came out and said, no, we're actually going to be doing the Steam Deck. It's just going to be our own proprietary Steam Deck with Windows UI, full Xbox controller layout. Yeah, it looks comfortable, and it's made by Asus, so yeah, it's going to have somewhat quality on it, but no price point, no official release date outside of dropping holiday this year, which, all right, cool. Going in there and competing with the Steam Deck, which is, of course, king. They have their different permutations and a relatively decent price point, but with Xbox ostensibly moving towards a fully Game Pass future, putting out a dedicated peripheral where you can simply play within the Xbox ecosystem and nothing else, we kind of see which way they're going. We kind of understand why they wanted to price out their consoles, why they wanted to price out all of their other hardware stuff, why they wanted to raise the price on their first-party titles. More on that tomorrow. It's because they want to push everybody in one specific direction. I don't like it. I really don't like it because it was one thing back in the day when you had your consoles and your exclusives and you had different fanboys fighting one another. But now we're moving into a point in time where, yeah, these companies, they own your gaming experience. And the moment that you do something to affect them negatively, when you do something that they don't like, all of that money, all of that time that you invested, it's not like a physical cartridge or a disc that you used to be able to buy. Now they can go ahead and simply brick your console, deactivate your account that you may have spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on, all because you decided to do something that may or may not have always been in the TOS, but now they want to go ahead and enforce it against you. Well, it's a soft way to get us to that whole social credit system that everybody was scared of, but now because a company is doing it because they have enough flashy lights and jiggly pixels, you'll go ahead and sign up for it. Go fuck yourself. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.